Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be showing you guys how to create this music 1v1 map in Uefn. So I've just created a new island, and what I'm firstly going to do is delete the 2 player spawners because we'll add those later on. Then I'm going to select the 4 grid planes, and on the right here I'm going to scroll down and I need to find actor hidden in game, yes, and then there should be somewhere as well about collision preset, make sure it's on no collision, and then I'm going to save. So the next thing I'm going to do is come down to the content drawer, just look up black floor. You can use whatever pieces you guys want, but I'm just going to use this clean looking floor right here, and then do the same thing but for wall, black wall. It'll be this first one right here. Drag it out. Make sure that you have grid snap enabled, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste it 6 tiles like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to select all the floors by holding down shift and going up in the top right and clicking the first one and then the last one. And then we're going to copy it 4 wide, just like this. Next, grab your wall and just cover it all the way around. Once you have done that, you should be left with a base just like this. Next, do the same thing again, but this time we're going to look up black stair, and we're going to use this one right here. We're going to drag it out, make sure that it's in the middle, just like so. Then we're going to copy and paste, put it on the other side. So it should look something like this. What I just realized is that the ramp's not actually in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend the floor again, so it's 5 by 6. So it's 6 this way, but then it's 5 this way. What we got to do is just copy and paste the floors like I just did. Then I'm going to select all these, the walls, bring them out, and then just simply copy and paste the walls to add it in the empty space. So now it should look something like this. You can tell that it's even and it's in the middle for both sides. So now that the base is done, we are going to create the reset builds button. For this, you're going to need a button device. Drag that out. We're going to need an explosive device, this one right here, and then we're going to need a trigger device. Drag that out. What we're going to do first is just make sure that the button is facing towards the ramps, and we're going to line it up just like so. For the settings, what we're going to do is make the interact time none. Actually, that'll be good. We're gonna make the text reset builds. Trigger sound, no. We're going to make visible in game stay on. Interact radius, we're going to make it pretty large so that the players can actually interact with it when they're far away, just like this. And then custom mesh, you can make a custom mesh if you'd like. I might just put a red button here and then just face it towards the player and just enlarge it so it's bigger, just like that. Next, what you're going to do is just make sure that the trigger is beside the explosive device. You're going to go to the explosive device. Health is whatever, can be damaged, off. Blast radius, what we're going to do is we're going to type 1000 in this bar here and highlight and copy it, and then we're going to right click and paste in the blast radius. Because the blast radius is only 10, but by copy and pasting it you can make it the highest number however you'd like. Player damage, we're going to do none. Structure damage, we're going to do max. Knockback, none. Damage indestructible buildings, that's fine. Play visual audio, no. Visible during game, no. Collision during games, only when visible. Show health bar, off. Play audio, no. And then time until reset, we'll do 0.5. Next, we're going to scroll down and do explode when pick button is on interact. Next, go to your trigger. Scroll all the way up. We're going to change the setting. Visible in game, nope. Triggered by player, no. Make sure that triggered by all these is off, but make sure that enabled on game start is still on. Trigger VFX and SFX, turn off. And then we're going to do trigger when pick button is on interact, and make sure that the trigger delay is 1 second. Then we're going to go to the explosive device and do reset when the trigger is on triggered. And then make sure you save everything at the bottom right. So what this will do is that when you click the button, it'll explode the explosive device, destroying all the builds. And then Once you've clicked the button, it'll also trigger the trigger. And then after 1 second, since we put in trigger delay 1 second, it will then reset the explosive device so it can explode as many times as you'd like. Next, what we're going to add is if the player falls off, they'll teleport back onto the main platform. So to do this, just go to your content drawer and just look up mutator. Should be the mutator zone, first thing to pop up. Just drag this out and just place it a little bit below the actual main platform, just like this. Now we're going to make the width and the depth as far as you possibly can, and just make sure to drag it to the middle. We're going to call this mutator zone fallen. Then I'm going to go back to the content drawer and look up the teleporter device, this one right here. Drag this out, and you want to make sure that it's actually facing towards the ramps. So just like this, and make sure it's in the middle. And then for the settings, we're going to do none, visible during game, no, audio, no, play sound effects, conserve momentum, phase player in teleport direction, make sure this is on yes, because you want them to be facing towards the ramp. And then maintain relative position, no. And then what we're going to do is come down to the user option functions, click the plus on teleport, and do teleport when pick mutator zone fallen is on player entering zone. Now, like I said, what this will do is if the player builds up and falls off the platform, or just falls off the platform just by running, they will then teleport back onto the platform through this teleport device. Now we are going to create the weapon wall. To do this, come up here and add a plane. And you want to make sure that it is facing us just like this. We're going to come to the right here and do 6 by 5 and keep that as 1. We're going to go into our content drawer, and I'm going to drag this graphic that I made onto this plane. And you can see it's actually upside down, so we're going to rotate it and bring it up so the bottom is showing, and make sure it is aligned at the back just like this. Next, come to the right. We're going to go to physics and make sure that the collision presets is on no collision. Now all we have to do is simply add our guns. So what I'm going to do is go back to the content drawer and look up item placer. Drag this out. Then I'm going to change the settings to can be damaged at game start, no. Show rarity, play audio, no. Allow respawn, 0 seconds. And model should be good. And then in item list, I'm going to click plus, and I'm just going to add my weapons. So let's say we want the gold pump. I'm just going to type in pump and add pump shotgun L5, because L5 is gold, legendary. So I'm just going to flip it so where it's facing. Make sure it's aligned with the actual graphic that I added. Just like so. Now what I can do is just simply copy and paste it and add more shotguns. So actually here, I'm going to delete that. We're going to make this row shotguns. So now we can just look up shotgun. Say we want the auto, we can add the auto. Go up again. Say we want the sentinel pump, gold sentinel. And you get what I'm saying. So we can just copy, drag it down a little bit more, copy and paste it to the right. And then let's make this assault rifles. So I'm just gonna look up assault. Let's add the gold scar. Let's add the blue AR. And then let's add the hollow twister. Now what I'm going to do is actually make the size 1.5, just so it's a little bit larger. It was originally 1. I made it 2 just to see if it works out well, but that's a little bit too large. So I'm going to change it to 1.5 and just make sure it aligns well. And then this last row, we're going to make it SMGs, or you can make it heals. So I'm going to add the shield pot. Going to add the mini shields, and then let's say we want the new gold chug splash. Oh, I guess it's not there. Let's just add the normal chug splash, and then we got to rotate this so it's actually facing the player. just like this. Gotta put a little bit of space in between them. We can actually go just like that. And that is our weapon wall complete. Obviously, you can add whatever weapons you want, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to add these so it's not too long. Next, I'm going to create an FOV slider. So I'm just going to copy and paste this weapon wall graphic to the left. And then I'm going to go to my content drawer and slide in the FOV slider graphic that I created. So you can make your own graphics, obviously, but if you like the exact graphics that I'm using in this video, you can purchase them on my Payhip. The link to that is down in the description. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a trigger from the content drawer. I'm going to drag it out. And then you want to make sure that it's facing towards us, just like this. And then you want to make sure that to align it in front of the actual graphic, just like this. Now, for the settings, visible in game off, triggered by player, triggered by vehicle, sequencer water none, trigger VFX and SFX off, and then receive damage when invisible. You want to make sure this is on so the players can actually shoot the trigger and it activates. Now, what you can do is just simply copy and paste them and put them in front of each of the different FOVs. Now I'm going to come down to my content drawer and just look up the orbit camera, this one right here, drag it out, and I'm going to make sure that it's facing towards me just so I know which one goes to what trigger. So for the settings, make sure to turn off add to player on start, and then field of view, the first one will be 80, so we're going to keep it like that. Want to copy and paste it. The next one is 90, so we're just going to simply change it to 90. Copy and paste once again. The third one is 110, so we're going to make it 110. And then the last one is 120, so we're going to make it 120. Then I'm going to make sure to select all of these and just drag them out so we can actually see our triggers. Now I'm going to go to the first orbit device, that is 80. I'm going to scroll all the way down to add to player when the first trigger is on triggered, and then remove from player, click it 3 times, and then do the other 3 triggers that is not the first one, just like this. And then you're going to do the same thing for all of them. So this time, the second one adds to player when the player clicks this second trigger. So we're going to do on trigger 3, and then remove from player on the first trigger, on the third trigger, and then on the fourth trigger. Once again, do the same thing. So this is going to add to player on that third trigger, since this is 110 field of view, and then remove from player when the first one is on triggered, second one on triggered, and the last one on triggered. And then finally, the 121, add to player when the last trigger is on triggered, and then remove from player on the first 3 triggers that we added. Just like that, your FOV slider is already set up. Now we're going to create a background changer. So once again, I'm just going to copy and paste the weapon wall graphic, go into my content drawer, and in my content drawer, I have this backgrounds graphic. I'm going to drag it on to here and just put it beside the weapon wall, just like that. Now, what I can do is just simply select all the FOV sliders and just paste them over to the background and make sure that they align with each background. Next, what I'm going to do is come to the content drawer and look up barrier, drag this out. For the settings, what we want is box shape hollow and enabled on phase none. What I'm actually going to do, just for the sake of this video, I'm going to drag the triggers up so we can see the different type of background. So you can see there's just the sky, so no barrier. Then we have this like galaxy type one. We have stars, and then we have like a dreamy sky. So we'll need 3 barriers. So the first one is that galaxy. So I'm going to come over here to the barrier material and select the galaxy here. I'm going to copy and paste it. And then next I need the stars, which should be the M barrier bound star field, just like that. And then lastly, copy and paste it and look for the dreamy barrier, which is M barrier dreamy sky, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the first one, and remember the triggers are corresponding with whatever the graphic is. So for this one, it is the galaxy. So we're going to scroll all the way down and enable it when this galaxy trigger is on triggered, and then disable it when the other three are on triggered. So everything except the second one, just like this. Next is the Starfield one. So we're going to enable it when the Starfield trigger is on triggered, and then disable it when the other three are triggered. And lastly, the Dreamy Sky. Enable it when the last trigger is on triggered, and then disable it when the other three are on triggered. So once you've set that up, you can move your triggers back into their spot, and then go to each barrier and just make the depth, width, and height as tall as you can, and then just make sure it is aligned like this. We're going to do that for all three of them. So same thing, drag it down, bring it to the middle, and last one, make sure they're 100. The same thing, just like that. Now, when you do these barriers, make sure that they're actually below the mutator zone, or else the mutator zone won't work properly. So you can see that the mutator zone is this like green force field. So just make sure that it is visible. So just like that is good. Now, what we're going to do is just add player spawners. This is what will actually allow the players to spawn on your map. So I'm just going to drag it out, bring it back to like where the teleporter is. Use island start sure, visible in game, nope. Just copy and paste it. You only need 2 because there's 1v1's only 2 players. Want to make sure I save that. And now the players can spawn in your map. Now, finally, we'll be getting into how to create the music wall. So once again, I'm just going to add a plane device to our map, face it towards us, and then come to the right, and the scale will be 9 by 8 by 1. Then go to your content drawer, and this will be in the graphics pack as well. You're going to get the music wall graphic and just drag it on here. Make sure that it is above your base. Make sure it's also lined up on your ramp and lined up in the back, just like this. And then also go to physics once again and make sure that collision is on no collision. Now, once you've done that, you'll actually need music. So how to do this is just go online and find any type of music you would want. Make sure that it's not copyrighted, because if it is copyrighted music, Fortnite will take down your map. No matter what, they'll take down your map. So make sure that the music's not copyrighted, or if it is copyrighted music, make sure it's like a remix so it doesn't actually get caught as an original piece. But for this video, I'm going to be using lobby music from Fortnite.gg. So for this, if you want to do the same thing as me, I'm going to go to cosmetics, and then I'm going to go to, where's it at? Music. So for the sake of video, I'm only going to put 3 musics in the map, but you'll be able to do as much as you'd want. So what I'm going to add, I'm going to get the rocket racing music, this one right here. So the good thing about Fortnite.gg is that you can actually download the music directly. So I'm just going to pause the music, and then you can see there's a download button. So I'm just going to download it. And then what it also gives you is you can right click on this image and save it. This you can put on your music wall, so when people shoot the image, then that music will start playing. I'm also going to be using the flip reset, so I'm just going to download that as well. And lastly, I'm going to use the Major Lazer music if I can find it. I think it's under icon. This one right here. I'm going to use this music. So once again, I'm going to download it, and then I'm going to save the image by right-clicking and saving image. Now, yes, you have the audio, but Fortnite only accepts WAV formatted audio. So since we just downloaded MP3s, what I'm going to do is go to this website. The link to this website will be down in the description. And I'm going to click choose file, and I'm going to choose those 3 files that I downloaded. Once you've done that, just click convert, and they should automatically convert to WAV files. And once they are done converting, you can simply just click download and download them. Once you have downloaded those, come to the import button and import your music into your content drawer. So I've just imported the audio, and you want to actually rename it just so you know what the music is. So I'm just going to listen and rename them all. Okay, so I've just renamed them, and then you also want to import the images that will pop up on your music wall that players can shoot, and then the music will play. So I'm going to import those now. So I've just imported those images. So what I'm going to do is just add another plane. Once again, make sure it's facing towards the player. Then I'll go back to my content drawer and just drag it out. And then I want to make sure that it's aligned with our music wall, just like this. And then I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger for the sake of the video. I'm going to make it 1.5. Then I'm going to drag it up to the corner. I can copy and paste it and grab the next graphic, which is the flip reset. And then I can do it for the third one, which is the major laser music. Now I'm going to align them in the middle, just like I did. Now go to your content drawer once again and look up the trigger device. The trigger device is like used on everything, so players can actually shoot and start the music. We're gonna scale it up a little bit. We're gonna use the red and the green, like that. Visible during game, nope. Make sure triggered by everything is off, but enable on game starts on. For VFX and SFX is off, and receive damage when invisible. Then we're gonna copy and paste and overlap the other two images. Next, go to your content drawer and just look up the audio device, or the audio player. We're just gonna drag it in front of our trigger. And for this, you wanna make it max volume, or actually I think 3 volume is good. Play on hit, no. Can be heard by everyone, yes. And then make the play location local player. Then we're gonna scroll all the way to the top and add our music in. So you can just go back to your music folder that you created. And this is the flip reset. So the first one was the rocket racing. So I'm going to click this use selected asset from the content drawer. And now you can see the rocket racing audio is there. I'm going to copy and paste the audio device again. The next one was the flip reset audio. So I'm going to do the same thing. And then for the last one, same thing. Going to click on the major laser. Click on this. And now all the audios are in. So now for the setup, it's just like everything else. Click play when this trigger is on triggered, and then stop when these two triggers are on triggered. Same thing for the middle one. Play when the middle trigger is on triggered, and then stop when these two triggers are on triggered. Same for the last one. Trigger when the last trigger is on triggered, and then stop when the first two are on triggered. Like I said previously, you can add as much music as you'd like and make sure that the setup is the same, where this audio device is connected to the trigger that it's beside, and then it's disabled on all the other triggers, and you gotta do that for all these devices. So yeah, you can add as much music as you want, but for the sake of the video, I don't want it to be too long because the video is already gonna be 20 minutes plus. So I'm just gonna add 3 music packs. Now here are the island settings. I'm gonna be going through them pretty fast, so slow down the video or just pause if you need to. So yeah, here are the island settings. So before I show you guys how it looks in game, I actually forgot 2 things. So the first one is in the island settings. You want to go to island settings and then scroll all the way down to, where is it at? All the way down to where it shows structure damage, and you want to make sure that's on enemy and self-built. Before it was on all, make sure it's on enemy and self-built. And the second thing is that I actually ended up adding landscape so that you can actually build, because for some reason you couldn't build. So how to add this is come up to the left, top left, selection mode, and do landscape. And then you're simply just going to go to new, and just click create. So I've already added it, so I'm not going to do that. But once you create it, come down and just select one of these pieces, and then top right, click landscape, hold shift, and go all the way down to the bottom so it selects all of them. And then make sure that actor hidden in game is on yes. Once you've done that, make sure to push changes. I also forgot in island settings that you want to turn infinite ammo on. So just go to island settings, look up ammo. It should be right here. Infinite reserve ammo. And save. And I've also forgot another thing apparently. So you want to make sure that all these triggers have trigger when receiving damage. For some reason, I thought it was automatically on, but I guess it wasn't. I must have turned it off. But triggered by damage, make sure that is on. You can do that by just selecting all of them and then go to receive damage, triggered by damage, and on. Now, when I end game and restart it, everything should work. Sorry for all the stuff that I've missed, but when it comes to making a pretty big map, sometimes you forget stuff. So now, if I go and grab a gold scar, if I shoot this, the background will turn to galaxy. Shoot this one, it'll remove it, change it to stars, same thing, dreamy sky, and then this one will just remove all of them so it's back to the normal. Now, since we added the landscape, I can build, and then when I click the reset builds button, it will reset the builds. Then now if I want to add music, I click that, and you can hear that the music's starting to play. Next one, next one. So you can do that. So I'll actually show you guys how to make a button that just removes the music as well. So I just realized that you can't turn it off. So I'm just gonna go back to Uefn. Just gonna go back to Uefn, and what you can do is just copy this trigger and bring it up, and then just go to all the audio devices. You can just select them all, add a stop, and then when this is triggered on triggered, and then you obviously want to add a graphic, but I don't actually have one. So what I'm going to do is just copy this, make it 1 by 1 by 1 again, and then I'm just going to remove this. So I'm just gonna clear it, or actually no, I don't need to clear it. I can just look up white and just make it a white box, just like this, and I can save. And now when I go back to start game and go back to Fortnite, once again I'll grab an AR and I can play the music, but then if I don't want any music, I can shoot this box and it will stop. And I'll show you guys that the FOV works. Go to 80, 90, 110, 120, just like so. Then same thing for the backgrounds, boom, 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 boom. Now it seems like once again that I don't have the correct FOV slider. So we're gonna do the same thing for FOV. We're just gonna go back to Uefn. We're going to copy this trigger and just place it above it, like so. And then we're gonna select all these orbit camera devices, scroll down, and do remove from player when this is on triggered. And then just for a reference point, you can add your own graphic. What we're going to do is go to the plane, drag it out, and make sure it is aligned with the trigger, just like that. So once again, go into end game, and then start game again, and show you guys that when I shoot that, my FOV will go back to normal, the normal Fortnite FOV. Go with scar again, 80, 90, click that to reset, click that to reset, click that to reset. And the last thing I needed to show off was that if a player falls off, they'll just spawn right back. Or if they respawn, it'll take a couple seconds, but they will spawn back on a player spawner, just like this. So you can see that I can build, and I can also reset the builds, and play music while you 1v1 your friends, and if you don't want it, turn it off. And before the video ends, I'll actually be selling this template on my PayHip. It'll have much more stuff. It'll be much more advanced, like the music. So there'll be a bunch more options that you guys can customize. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below on what tutorial you'd like to see next. So please make sure to join my Discord. The link to that is down in the description. It'll be really appreciated. So that's it for the video. I'll see you all in the next one.